seconds.
Thank you and good night. Only one question remains. Will Kirkman again and break the 4-minute barrier?
I know I'm new to the sport of pint downing, but I'm guessing down applies to the throat, not the shirt.
I have a medical condition, which means I have trouble swallowing.
I've heard that one before.
Who's next? Carol?
You can't challenge Carol in her condition.
No, she's right. Carol wouldn't stand a chance, and you're both women, so I guess Mr. Stedman remains undefeated for yet another night.
What about me?
We've only known each other 6 weeks. That might be too soon to humiliate.
If you're afraid of losing, just say me.
We have a contender.
Say it.
Go! Wow. Fuck me.
1.3 seconds.
What can I say? Like a true champion, he takes his defeat with dignity and humility. You off?
Always like to leave on a high note.
Can't argue with that.
I couldn't get a lift, could I?
Okay.
Only I don't fancy walking back on my own, and Lindsay doesn't look like she's quite finished yet.
She's barely started.
But if it's going to be a hassle.
Oh, don't be silly.
Thanks.
Right. See you all tomorrow.
Gotta hand it to her. Shameless.
You should have a word with her, Lindsay.
I'm staying out with this.
She scrounges lifts off him all the time.
It's always the nice blokes that get taken for a ride.
Isn't it?
No, sorry, I'm still not happy.
Boot.
Why can't you get a bigger car?
I'm a teacher. People get suspicious if I have a big help.
Brian got beaten by a girl. Brian got beat. Brian got beat. Brian got beaten by a girl. Brian got beaten.
I don't think of Lindsay as a girl in the conventional sense.
What's the conventional sense?
In the sense I'd want to shag her.
You don't want to shag Lindsay?
Not even remotely.
Ah, you know how to make a girl feel good about herself.
I don't mean that I wouldn't shag you, only that I wouldn't want to.
I bet you use that line on all the ladies.
Don't get me wrong, this has nothing to do with you being fat, which you're not. You're just healthy in a large way. It's just that very occasionally a friendship is better off without sex. You're okay with that, aren't you?
I'll live.
Well, I'll still shag you, Lindsay. No matter how fat you are.
Or maybe not.
Someone's nicked it. Why would someone nick your car? It's a heap of shit.
Where the fuck is it then?
I don't know. Maybe you took it to the pub last night.
I'd remember if I took it to the pub, wouldn't I?
Shit!
I've been cheated by everyone. I've been cheating myself. I've been cheated by everyone, and everyone's been cheated by me. I've been cheated by things I've done, and I've been cheated by friends.
Lindsay's a top bird, isn't she? She's not like most girls.
You mean because she beat you?
No, most girls tend to find me a bit
Annoying?
The point is, I'm finally mates with a girl, and we don't fancy each other.
But you don't fancy her more like?
Meaning?
Work it out. You not fancying her doesn't automatically mean she doesn't fancy you.
shitted by things I've seen and all I've learned in school. I've been shitted by teachers.
Lindsay doesn't fancy me.
How do you know?
When has a girl ever fancied me before?
It was bound to happen sooner or later.
Look, we're just friends.
No such thing where a bloke and a woman are concerned.
Bollocks.
Trust me, if they look like they're friends, it's because one of them wants a shag. If neither of them wants a shag, there's no reason to be friends. And if both of them want a shag, they shag.
What is up with the heat in this place?
Hi, Lindsay. Good to see you again. How are you?
Has neither of you noticed how hot it is?
What's that smell? It smells like your vomit, Brian.
Well, his vomit never smells that bad.
Maybe it's the canteen.
Canteen never smells that good. You know, when you get so drunk you pass out in the car and get up the next day without brushing your teeth or changing your socks? It smells like when you've been doing that for a fortnight.
Morning, Bob.
Fine, thanks. Slept like a log.
Literally at the foot of the tree in a park, by the looks of things.
Oh, yeah, that's very good. Yeah, no, we got no hot water at the moment. Plumber's trying to fix it, but you know what it's like, trying to get quality work these days. It's driving me and the wife crackers, but, that's marriage, isn't it? It has its ups and downs, but you muscle through.
Morning, everyone. As the more intuitive of you will have no doubt guessed, we've reached that point in the school calendar when the central heating comes on. Inevitably, while it takes our technicians several days to refamiliarize themselves with the binary possibilities of a hot-cold dial, we're going to have to sweat it out. All I can suggest is that we be patient, open windows, and drink plenty of water.
Oh, Matt, I was wondering if I could use you again this afternoon.
What was that for?
I wanted to get some schemes of work for Year 7.
Really? I thought you got some last night.
I could use some more.
Would 5 minutes be enough?
It might take longer. I want to make sure we have time to go through them all properly.
10?
Thanks. See you at 3.
She hardly looked at me during the staff meeting. If she'd have wanted to shag me, she'd have at least looked at me.
When Carol wanted to shag me, she never looked at me.
Carol's blind. That's why she shagged you in the first place.
It's almost like Lindsay was going out of her way not to look at you.
Lindsay does not fancy me. Girls do not fancy me. I fancy them. That's how it works. Anything else is not normal.
Well, you said Lindsay's not a girl in the conventional sense.
I mean, because she's...
Fat.
She's not fat. She's just... fat.
What's the difference?
Adam Grint. Now, he's fat.
Oh, he is so fat. Plus he's going bald.
No way.
Seriously.
How can you go bald at your age?
I have a vitamin deficiency.
How can you be deficient in anything? Why would Lindsay fancy me just because she was fat?
Kurt's theory of fat birds. The fatter a bird, the more likely she is to fancy me.
That makes no sense. And it's politically, you know, that thing with dwarfs.
Incorrect.
Imagine if women went around not fancying you because you were short.
They don't fancy me.
I mean, not because of your height, though. Because you're a wanker.
Think about it. The fatter a girl is, the less men fancy her. The less likely she is to get laid, the lower her standards, the more likely she is to fancy Brian.
All right, it makes some sense. But just because she can fancy me in theory, doesn't mean she does.
Well, don't say I didn't warn you. And don't come crying to me when she sticks her tongue in your mouth and goes.
You know the way you just sat there all lesson with your mouth open? Please try keeping it closed. It's making me feel sick.
Is that the Middle East?
Take your time.
Fuck me.
It's just a diagram.
It's huge.
It's not to scale.
You're a biology teacher, aren't you?
Did the diagram give it away?
So, what's your ideal fish?
I don't have an ideal fish. Although my favourite's probably the sardine.
Really?
Can't be easy being so small. All those sharks.
Plus being squashed.
In fairness, I think the squashing only happens once they're in the tin.
And what's your ideal man?
I'm a traditional girl, so I'd have to say the whale.
Is that because he's so mysterious?
No, but he's fat and born idle, and I respect that in any creature.
He's at the top of the food chain. No one eats whales.
I think the Japanese do, don't they?
What would your ideal man be like?
Well, judging from past experience, the kind of man I really go for is lazy, adolescent, and selfish in bed.
It's uncanny. It's an exact description of you.
I'm not selfish in bed.
You're not exactly Mother Teresa.
Was Mother Teresa good in bed?
She was generous in most areas. Why wouldn't it extend to the bedroom?
She was a nun.
She was?
That's what the mother stands for.
Typical.
And even if I was selfish in bed, how could Lindsay possibly know?
Lucky guess.
The terms lazy, adolescent and selfish in bed could just as easily apply to you.
There couldn't be a less accurate description of me.
Liz, which one of us does lazy, adolescent and selfish in bed apply to?
Easy, Brian.
Thank you.
Kurt would be lazy, selfish, and adolescent in bed.
I'd rather be adolescent in bed than selfish.
No way. Selfish means I could be good in bed if I could be arsed. Adolescent? Well, that's like you're trying your hardest, you're just not up to it.
Matt, which is better? Selfish in bed or adolescent in bed?
Depends on the occasion. What are you doing to Bob?
We're conducting an experiment to see whether people who are asleep piss themselves if you put their hands in warm water.
I think it's work.
Before you go, how do you know when a woman fancies you?
In what sense?
You know how normally if you fancy a woman, you try and persuade her to go to bed with you. Sometimes she does, but most of the time she tells you to sod off. What happens if she fancies you instead?
Well, usually she'll just flirt with you.
Flirt.
You know, flirting is how women get men to seduce them.
So what does flirting look like, exactly?
She'll run her hand through her hair occasionally, sustain eye contact, brush her body against you intermittently.
Like during sex?
A bit more subtle.
I was wondering if I could...
You know, kind of like this.
Get off.
That's flirting.
You mean like Penny?
Penny.
That's what Penny does, you know, when she tries to get you to do something you don't want to do. Like now. And look what she's doing with Mr. Chong. If you didn't know Mr. Chong, you'd think she was gagging for it.
Penny's never flirted with me.
Well, Penny flirts with everyone.
What about last night? She asked for a lift, you weren't sure. She batted her eyelids, you rolled over like a poodle.
Well, if she did flirt with me, I wasn't aware of it.
Because you're married.
Exactly.
It's fucking hot in here. Ah, and I didn't think you smoked.
I don't. It's the only excuse Claire will accept for me spending 5 minutes outside that sauna. Get home eventually last night?
I did, yes.
Once you'd given Penny a lift.
She only lives 5 minutes away.
She can walk. It's not as though you're even going in the same direction.
I don't mind.
You don't want people thinking she's walking all over you.
Do they think that?
But we all know what Penny's like. She has a way of getting people to do things which aren't in their best interest.
It's just a lift.
Always is.
Hey, pass it, you swat!
So, let's look at the facts. We know you're her type. We know she likes you enough to call you a wanker. We know she's fat.
Well, couldn't that all just be coincidence, though?
You're right. What we need is our smoking gun. That vital piece of evidence that places you at the scene of the crime.
What crime?
The crime of passion that is Lindsay fancies Brian. But then again, as long as you're happy living with the uncertainty, jump in every time she brushes against you, you won't want to hear my plan.
Have you got a plan?
It's called the Does She Fancy You plan.
That's a shit name. You just made it up.
All right. What about the flush her out plan?
Didn't we already use that for the plan with the big floater in the bog?
That was the flush him down the pan plan.
Now that was a name.
That was a plan.
Get up, you big gay baby!
So, how would you describe Cleopatra? Anyone? Robin. Well, just say the first thing that comes into your head.
Pathetic.
You mean because she has an affair with Anthony, who's married?
He messes her about.
But he's in love with Cleopatra. Why else would he sacrifice everything for her? The point is that Shakespeare creates a truly modern heroine. A woman who is both independent and sexually in control.
So why does she kill herself?
The exercise of sexual attraction is the element of Cleopatra's life. What does Mr. Bradley mean by this? Samantha?
She's a slapper, isn't she?
She most certainly is.
Can I talk to you in private?
Oi, fuck off. I should warn you, I'm not good on crustaceans or insects.
I've recently started worrying that I'm not attractive. You know, that there's something physically or mentally wrong with me that puts women off.
Really?
Nothing specific. Just that, generally women don't go for me. And, well, I started to wonder if it was something about me. So I thought I'd ask you what you thought, as a friend.
Well, you're not perfect, Brian, but then you're not hideous either.
Really?
Everybody's got something about them that appeals to someone somewhere.
So you don't think there's anything I should change to make myself more attractive to birds?
Apart from calling them birds.
Exactly.
Trouble is, you change one thing and the whole thing starts to unravel. You're better off just making the most of your best qualities.
Which are?
Off the top of my head.
Take your time.
You're tall. Handy for changing light bulbs when you can't be asked to fetch the stepladder.
Anything else?
You can down a pint in 3 seconds.
2.8.
There you go. Got loads of good qualities.
You're right, she fancies me. All along she's been gagging for it.
I told you.
There I was thinking she was my first proper...
Girlfriend?
Friend who's a girl. Friend.
When it turns out she's just a...
Friend who really wants a shag friend.
That's not to say you still can't be mates.
You can?
Sure. As long as you don't mind the fact that she's only being your mate because she's biding her time, waiting for the opportunity to...
I'll never know if she's only getting drunk with me because she wants to get me drunk. I'll never know if she's burping and throwing up and spitting and passing out with her head in a pizza because she really wants to.
Or if it's just all an act.
What about Susan? I shagged her. Didn't stop us being proper friends.
But Susan wasn't really your friend, though, was she? She was mainly Simon's friend.
What do I do?
There's only one thing you can do.
I can't tell her I don't fancy her.
Make her not fancy you.
How?
By making yourself unattractive.
I'm not sure I know how to do that.
Well, just do what ugly people do.
What do ugly people do?
Grint! How come no one fancies you?
Don't know.
Well, can't it be more specific?
Hands up who doesn't fancy Grint. Kayla, why don't you fancy Grint?
Don't know.
Is it because he's bald and fat?
Partly.
Well, there's more wrong with him.
No, it's just...
Just whisper it to me.
He's a bit disgusting. He's got all these bad habits.
Apparently he's disgusting and he's got all these bad habits.
What kind of habits? You could try burping in front of her.
Oh, it's never going to work. I'm an awesome burper. I hold the record for the most number of burps in 24 hours without the assistance of carbonated drinks. No, what we need is something that makes me look less attractive.
What was that?
It's the photocopier.
I can definitely hear something.
What's wrong?
I just think we should be careful.
I agree.
Yeah. Let's not take any unnecessary risks. Or do anything that might get us caught.
I agree.
No, you're right, it's jammed.
It has to be the feeder tray.
Ugh, not again.
Matt, quick question. What is the best way for a man to be unattractive to a woman?
I use a device called a wife.
Let's say you haven't got a wife. Or even a girlfriend. You just want to be unattractive for the sake of it.
You're talking to the wrong man.
What about you, Penny?
What do you find most unattractive in a man?
In your case, or generally?
Or Matt, for instance. What is it that stops you from wanting to shag him?
Apart from his wife.
I don't necessarily find having a wife makes a man unattractive.
Just unavailable.
What I find most unattractive is men who go on about tits and football and the size of their genitals the whole time. And who get turned on by simple things. Like a woman talking slowly.
Keep going.
I just like a bit of sophistication. Not a lot, but some.
Thanks.
Glad to be of help.
Why were they going on about my wife?
No idea. Where were we?
What if someone comes in?
Someone did just come in.
What if someone comes in again?
What are the chances of that? I don't know whether to staple them or paperclip.
Paperclip would allow you to file the pages in a ring binder.
But then you run the risk of them coming apart.
I hope I'm not interrupting anything.
No, not at all.
Actually, we're having an illicit affair in the photocopying room.
She's joking. I was just helping out with some copying.
How long will you be? About 5 minutes?
A bit longer?
Back in 10.
Do you think she's picked up on something?
If you don't want people to be suspicious, stop acting so suspiciously.
That's easier said than done. I've got a wife and kids, remember?
So?
So I've got a lot to lose.
What? And I haven't.
You should be more careful in your condition. Bob, can you hold the ladder for Carol?
I don't know if I can do this.
You've never had a problem before.
I've never had to do it deliberately before.
Just be yourself. Then add more wanker to the mix.
Coming down to the pub for a quickie.
Quick what?
Shag. Why else would we go to a pub?
For a pint.
We can have one of those too if you like.
I'm only going for a pint.
Well, I guess that'll have to do. See you there.
She knows.
She knows what?
She knows that you know she fancies you. That's why she's moving in. Be surprised if she doesn't try and shag you this evening.
You up for a drink?
Oh, just a quick one. Don't want to stay out too late.
Oh, yeah, tell me about it. Yvonne's probably cooked me a meal, bless her, but sometimes it's good to go out and have a quiet drink with your colleagues. Stops you getting complacent. Yeah, when a man's marriage is going well, it's very easy to neglect other parts of your life. Yeah, I mean, spending time apart can be just as important as spending time together.
Everybody's beginning.
Yeah, I mean, things might not always be going so smoothly, so it's good to know that if ever that happens to be the case, that you've got friends that you can fall back on.
Oh, I'm so dehydrated. All day I felt like I do when I get shit-faced the night before.
You did get shit-faced the night before.
What's wrong?
There's something you should know. Something that will put you right off me.
Really? Go on then, what is it?
It's...
Well, Brian reckons he has a tiny knob.
Takes one to know one.
He's right. I have a small...
Tiny?
Not tiny, small. And it's started to bother me.
Oh, you shouldn't worry. I mean, that kind of thing really doesn't matter.
Have you got a small knob too, Bob?
No? Well, God, no. But I have my fair share of experience when it comes to women.
Please, Bob, I'm eating.
And if she's the kind of woman who's going to leave you if she's not satisfied in the bed department, well, she's the kind of woman you can do without. Isn't that right, Matt?
No idea, Bob.
You've always struck me as someone who was well hung.
Not anymore.
Has it shrunk?
No. It's only just occurred to me. For years I've been thinking it was bigger than it actually was, but then I realised that this was only because I was looking down on it from up here, 3 feet away.
Which is why we decided to measure it.
We being...
Oh, we took the decision together, but Brian was the only one present at the actual measuring.
Not very scientific.
If anything, doesn't it look smaller when you're looking down on it?
He's right.
But I've always been overcompensating. I've always imagined it looked small because I was looking down on it.
But turns out it was just tiny.
Small?
What, smaller than Kurt's?
Fuck off.
It's all about the way you use it anyway.
Oh, that's the other thing. He's shit with it.
Does that bother you?
Not really. In fact, I appreciate your honesty.
So it doesn't change your opinion of me?
If anything, it reinforces a few of my preconceptions.
That's pleasant.
That's terrible.
So you find me unattractive when I burp?
Please, that wasn't a burp. That was a burp.
It's no good. Whatever I do, whatever I say, no matter how much of a dickhead I am, I'm irresistible. It's like I'm Ricky Martin.
You got no option. You've got to shag her.
What?
Like aversion therapy. Get it all out of her system once and for all.
And what if she likes it?
She will like it.
Really?
Fat girls love sex. They have lower standards because they don't get it as much. But she's still going to feel disgusted as soon as it's over. She'll definitely regret it.
So she won't come back for more?
When's that ever happened to you?
You're right.
Just look on the bright side. You'll get a shag.
I'm going to make a move.
I couldn't get a lift, could I?
I'm kind of in a rush.
I'm ready to go.
It's just that your flat's not even in the same direction.
It's a 5-minute walk.
So walk.
Don't say you didn't have it coming.
What?
You've been taking advantage of him for weeks. He was bound to put his foot down eventually.
It's only a lift.
You shouldn't use people if you're going to whinge every time they stand up to you.
Fuck off.
Right, I'll get the next round in, shall I? Now, come on, who's up for a big night, eh?
See you tomorrow, everyone.
Nah, not for me, Bob. I might grab a curry and go home. Are you up for that, Lindsay?
Said the magic word. Give me 30 seconds.
Liz.
Sorry, Bob.
Looks like I'll be joining you three for that curry, then. I'll stick it.
Go and get us a pint, Bob.
Good on you.
The things I do for you.
Are you sure this is what Lindsay wants?
Of course. I bet she's buying condoms right now.
Well, should we take this back to mine?
Oh, we could just eat it here off the pavement.
Really?
No.
OK.
This is fun, isn't it? I can't remember the last time I had so much fun.
Bob, shut the fuck up. Not you.
That's if I can deliver the pub.
What kind of pizzas do you have? Or can't you list them? Well, list the best ones then. Well, what's your favourite? No, I hate anchovies. That sounds okay. Hang on, Bob.
I'll just have a margarita.
You can't have a margarita. It's got no personality. I'll get you the one with the egg. Can we have the one with the egg? Well, most places do. She hung up.
Strangest thing happened earlier. Kurt and me were imagining what would happen if there was a nuclear war and you and me were the only two surviving members of the human race.
Certainly strange, but then nothing really surprises me about your conversations with Kurt.
I haven't got to the strange part yet.
Carry on.
So, Kurt asks me, bearing in mind we're the last two people on Earth, if I'd shag you. I thought about it and thought, why not? I'd be up for shagging you if it meant the survival of the human race.
I'm flattered, Brian, but I doubt whether the race that survived would be entirely human.
And then I thought, what if there was no nuclear war? What if we weren't the only two people left on the surface of the Earth?
Let's cross that bridge when we get to it now.
But just supposing. I asked myself if I'd still be up for shagging you, and I thought, fuck it. Why not?
This really was a strange conversation, even by your standards.
So, you know what this means?
Give us a clue.
Think about it. There isn't actually a nuclear war. Not just at the moment.
And?
And, therefore, you can shag me.
I don't want to shag you.
I don't mind.
I had me doubts when we were the last two humans on Earth. Now there's another 6 billion to choose from. I'll have to say no.
I thought you fancied me.
What gave you that idea?
All that stuff you said about your ideal man being lazy and adolescent. And when I asked you if I was attractive, you said I was perfect.
I said you were tall and knew how to down a pint. Where did you get perfect from?
I was reading between the lines.
This explains why I've been behaving oddly all day. Listen, if I led you on in any way or gave you any reason to hope you stood a chance, I'm sorry.
I don't fancy you. I was just saying all that because I thought you fancied me and I didn't want you to feel bad.
Whatever.
You don't believe me.
Come on, Brian, you fancy me, big deal. You fancy everyone now. Shut up and eat your curry.
Ask Kurt. I don't fancy you.
Have you had sex yet? Shall I fuck off for 5 minutes? Where the hell are we?
Gonna take a jumper?
I'm not making that mistake again.
I can't believe you didn't remember to remind me to remember my car.
I forgot.
Don't see why you're in such a bad mood. It's always a way, isn't it? Whenever I'm in a bad mood, you've got to be in a bad mood. You can't be in a good mood just once when I'm in a bad mood, can you?
I'm in a bad mood because of what happened between you and Lindsay.
That's my reason for being in a bad mood.
So?
Get your own reason.
If Lindsay doesn't fancy you, it means my theory of fat girls is bollocks.
Bollocks anyway.
The fact that Lindsay doesn't fancy you means that fat girls aren't desperate. And if fat girls aren't desperate, it means I can't necessarily pull them, which means I no longer have a fallback plan.
You have a fallback plan?
In case no one else fancies me. No one else does, which is why I'm in a bad mood. Carol, for example. The only reason I stopped shagging her was because I thought I could do better.
No, you stopped shagging her because she was a mare.
Yeah, but she was mine.
To think of your little baby minion she's carrying.
Don't even joke about that. You know it's mathematically impossible for me to be the father of that child.
Yeah, but we thought it was mathematically impossible you'd ever get a shag.
Morning, Kurt. Morning, Brian.
Oh, I've just remembered. I've got to get that thing.
What thing?
The thing. With the thing from the thing.
What thing with the thing from the thing?
I can't remember the word for it.
Act it out.
Wigwam.
How is that a wigwam?
Tall and pointy.
Looked like a wigwam to me.
Why would I have forgotten a wigwam? I've never had a wigwam. Not since I was 15, anyway.
Liz, do you know what Brian's talking about?
Rarely.
He can't remember the word for the thing with the thing from the thing.
I think Brian's probably trying to avoid talking to someone. So he's attempting to come up with an excuse to leave.
I think I might have dropped it over there. Excuse me.
What's he done this time?
Tried to jump me last night.
The moment Brian doesn't try to jump you, that's when a girl should worry.
Has he ever jumped you?
No.
She's telling everyone. I'll be a laughingstock. This is all your fault. You and your stupid plans.
And more importantly, what are we looking for? What was the thing?
What thing?
The thing you forgot.
There never was a thing. I was making it up.
Well, why didn't you make up something you could remember?
I couldn't think of anything that would be completely believable.
Sorry about last night.
Why?
I was a bit prickly.
No, you weren't.
But I think you did the right thing, not giving me a lift.
Good.
It's just, sometimes I forget that you've got a wife and stuff, and I should be a bit more sensitive to that.
Listen, I'll speak to you later, all right?
I don't see what the problem is. Lindsay doesn't fancy you.
Yeah, but this is much worse. She thinks I fancy her.
So? You fancy everyone?
Not Lindsay. This is the first time someone's ever thought I fancied them when I haven't. I don't care if someone thinks I fancy them when I do, but when I don't, well, it's embarrassing.
You do know this radiator isn't working.
Morning, everyone. The good news is that maintenance have finally managed to turn the heating off. The bad news is that they can't get it back on. Until they crack that elusive mathematical conundrum that is room temperature, I'm going to have to ask you once again to bear with us. Wrap it warmly. Drink plenty of tea.
Thanks for telling me not to bring my jumper.
No one asked you to copy me.
Did you get your thing?
Hello, Lindsay. Yes, thanks.
Glad to hear it.
Aren't you cold?
I'm fat, remember?
Did you see that?
She seems fine.
She's behaving as though nothing happened.
Maybe she's just trying to be your friend.
I don't want to be friends with someone who's only trying to be friends with me because she thinks I fancy her. Jesus. It's like being ugly or something.
Have I missed something?
Lindsay thinks I fancy her.
Why does she think that?
After you left the pub, he told her he wanted to shag her.
I never said I wanted to, I said I was prepared to.
I can see how some confusion might arise.
You get home all right last night?
Yeah, eventually.
Get in trouble with a wife?
Ah, did I? Yeah. She waited up for me, bless her. Couldn't sleep, she was so worried. Had a blazing row, of course.
Ah, you'll be fine. She's hardly going to leave you, is she?
What are you saying?
Well, she's not going to leave you just because you come home late one night.
Why would she leave me?
Well, I don't know. If she found your collection of porn. Or if you spilt wine on the carpet, then burnt a massive hole in it because you're trying to get rid of the stain with bleach.
Oh, fuck off.
Or maybe not because of anything you've done, but just because finally, after so many years, she's so fed up with you being bold and boring, she ran off with the first bloke who knocked on the door.
Oh, fuck you!
Something wrong?
As if you don't know. As if you all don't know. As if I don't know that you all know and what you're saying behind my back. But she's left me there. I've said it. You satisfied? Yvonne has left me. She's booted me out of the home with nothing but the shirt on my back to shack up with the fucking satellite installation man. And now she is fucking him and she won't even let me in to take a fucking shower. So, fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck the lot of you.
Bob's wife's got satellite.
You around later? It's just I could do with some help in the library.
I can't.
Is something wrong? Because if there is, I'd prefer it if you just told me.
I think we should cool things down.
Okay.
Permanently.
Right. Why?
This was only ever meant to be a bit of a laugh. And lately we've started taking risks, and I don't even want to risk taking risks.
Well, we've been doing this for nearly 10 months, and it's only just occurred to you that cheating on your wife might involve some element of risk. That's very astute of you.
There's no need to be sarcastic.
Well, why don't you tell me what you want me to say and I'll say it?
Fine. I'd like you to say something like, "Thank you, Matt, for being straight with me. Although I've enjoyed myself, I appreciate that this was only ever about the sex and that this moment was inevitable."
Well, I'd like you to say, "I've got a job in Africa starting tomorrow. Clearing minefields."
So, do you think you'll still be feeling like a twat this evening?
I don't know.
Only if you're not going to come to the pub, I'd like to know in advance.
Why do we have to talk about the pub so early in the morning?
We always talk about the pub this early.
Yeah, well, not today. Can't even look at Lindsay.
So don't look at her.
I'm not sure if I'm ever going to go to the pub again.
Then go to another pub.
It won't be the same.
In the new sound, make it in. Oh, please make it in. All I have been missing.
Hello, Lindsay.
Hello, Kurt.
There's something I should tell you.
Okay.
It's quite personal.
You don't fancy me as well, do you?
No, it's not that. Although I do a bit. Enough to shag you if you ever want. No pressure.
I'll bear that in mind.
You may have noticed Brian's been behaving a bit strangely all morning.
Has he?
That stuff with the thing.
Oh, you mean the wigwam?
Turns out it wasn't really a wigwam.
You're kidding.
He was making it up.
Only one question remains. Why didn't he make up something you could remember?
Well, that's what I said. But it turns out he was embarrassed because he made a huge knob of himself in front of you last night. I tried putting it in perspective and telling him he's always making a huge knob of himself, but I think he needs you to say something.
I wouldn't want to undo all of your good work.
See, the thing is, he doesn't actually fancy you. The only reason he asked you to go to bed with him was because I told him that you fancied him, and he was worried it might ruin your friendship if he didn't.
Right.
Could you try and do it sooner rather than later, because I'd like to sort out who I'm going to the pub with this evening.
Of course.
And his first thought was to behold his love. He cast his eyes into the tree above, only to see that Damien had addressed his wife in ways that cannot be expressed. Something wrong, Michelle? Do you think it's amusing to find out your wife's having an affair?
It's his own fault.
But the poor man is blind.
But isn't his blindness metaphorical? He married a woman who wasn't in love with him for the wrong reasons.
Look, he loved that woman, and she screwed him. Just like Delilah screwed Samson, just like Desdemona screwed Othello, just like all women throughout literature always screw men.
Desdemona didn't betray Othello, did she?
Well, do you know why? Because he got to her first.
Nice tits. On the board. Are you okay about last night?
Yeah. I take that kind of thing in the stride. I was pissed. I can hardly remember what happened.
You asked me for a shag.
Really?
It's all right. I know you don't fancy me.
Really?
I know you well enough to know when you fancy someone. For a start, you'd be looking at me tits the whole time.
You're right. Although I do look at them occasionally, just to make sure they're still there.
Thanks.
By the way, as a friend, I think they're one of your best features.
And you can stop looking at them now.
Sorry.
Kurt told me what really happened.
So Kurt told you to come and talk to me?
He asked me to put you out of your misery. Something tells me if you did fancy me, you wouldn't retch.
Show Kurt, go on.
Please, I'll pay you.
A girl likes to maintain a mystique.
Well, I'll show you mine if you show me yours.
Not the first time you've used that line, is it, Kurt?
Are you off already?
Right, so,
Go on, we're waiting.
for what?
I'm sure you're not going to leave without at least one attempt to emotionally blackmail Matt into giving you a lift.
Sorry to disappoint you, but I'm going to walk.
Tell you what, I'll show you mine anyway.
You have the strangest belly button I've ever seen.
Sure that's not his penis? Very easy to confuse.
How come you're so scrawny, Kurt?
High metabolism.
That's why he's got such a tiny willy. I, on the other hand,
I'm a fat bastard.
have a huge knob.
Okay, I'll show you. On the condition I never have to see either of your stomachs ever again.
It's not that bad.
I'm flattered.
But Brian said it was really, really disgusting.
I knew it. Kurt likes fat girls. I told you he was a freak.
I just don't see what's wrong with a bit of fat. Nothing better than a woman you can hold on to. No offence, Bob.
Fuck you. So that's why you shag Liz?
No, I shagged Liz because she was drunk. Though the fat was a bonus.
I'm nowhere near as fat as Lindsay. No offence.
Yes, you are. It's just more compact with you, like Tessa Sanson.
There's only one way to settle this.
Take your hand off me.
Come on, Liz, let's have a look.
Hey, hey!
Come on, and again. There it is. Come on.